you've been writing recently about Bella Thorne and OnlyFans and the sort of uproar that came about as a result of her work there and some of the stuff that she's announced for the future. For people who might not have been following this, who's Bella Thorne? What is OnlyFans? Why is all of this such a big story?
Okay. So a short version of a long story that spans the years of Bella Thorne's career is that she's a former Disney actress. She did that career trajectory where she turned and became super sexy in adulthood. She posts a lot of sexy selfies. She does a lot of controversial things. And so she joined OnlyFans, which is a subscription platform for content creators where they can charge for videos or photos, things of that nature. And because it allows pornographic material on OnlyFans, it's obviously very quickly become a hub for sex workers who are doing custom videos, custom pictures. They have fans, they promote themselves online. They work really hard to maintain an online presence so that they can route people to the OnlyFans where they're getting money, a revenue stream from the content that they're posting. So Bella Thorne, this actress who's always kind of in the mix, a household name, decided she was going to join OnlyFans. She broke a couple records as soon as she did it. She made $1 million in the first day. In the first week, she had $2 million, and she was charging $200 for a private photo that she swore would be nude. They weren't nude. She never got nude. Unlike a lot of other creators on the platform, she just was posting in lingerie. And so OnlyFans had to issue a bunch of refunds for people who thought that they were getting the full Bella Thorne, and they didn't. And so then they instituted all of these caps, and now people who've been using this platform to create and distribute for a long time are realizing that instead of getting their payments in a week, they're looking at 21 to 30 days to get their payments back. Now there's caps on how much they can make on individual interactions with the people who subscribe for them and the people who pay for different photos. Now they're seeing these caps and they're seeing all of this negative publicity, and Bella Thorne, but the damage appears to be done. OnlyFans says that the caps aren't in response to what she did, but it's a little coincidental that it would happen after they're issuing all these refunds because she never got naked.
And so also, generally, OnlyFans is fairly siloed off from other social media sites. Like you can't, on Instagram in particular, if you have an account on Instagram, you can't advertise that you have an OnlyFans as well. But she was able to get around that, right?
Sure. I mean, she's a huge household name. And in her apology, she even referenced that. She said that she was really trying to destigmatize OnlyFans, destigmatize sex, as she said, because she has this wide appeal. She is a household name and a mainstream voice, as she said. But that also affords her a lot of luxuries that other creators do not have. There are people who get fired from their day jobs because they have an OnlyFans that they're using to supplement their income. Teachers get fired for having an OnlyFans. Bella Thorne isn't getting fired from anything. She can skirt a lot of different rules just because of who she is. And who she is why it's unfair in the minds of the sex workers who've been using that platform for her to have joined up and marshaled her millions of followers over onto that account and just used her heavy influence to kind of blow up the entire platform.
Yeah, and to make far more money in a short period of time than they probably can when they're presumably doing what they actually advertise. And so the way that she said that she was attempting to destigmatize it, to sort of do something that would benefit the creators on there. What has the reaction been like for people who, this is not a thing that they dabble in for a week to promote something or whatever, this is their life? How do they feel about all this?
Sure. Oh, so far reactions are still extremely negative. She said she's meeting with people at OnlyFans. Is she going to? How will she prove that she did that? Because they're still putting out statements saying that the caps had nothing to do with her. But she's been seeing a lot of people who are outright angry with her, sex workers, people on the platform. There were trending topics. I've seen a number of people posting directly to their Instagram stories about this. A real awareness-raising campaign about why they see this as being unfair. But then there's also other kinds of blowback for her too. The director that she said she was working with on a documentary that would explore why and how she created her account put out a statement and was like, yeah, that's not true. We're not working on a documentary like that. I did not tell her to make this account. And in fact, I told her that if she did make an account, I had nothing to do with it. And I wanted her to check in with sex workers first. So she's getting distance from all of the professionals who should be backing her up or who she would need to back her up in this instance. And she's getting a lot of rage from everybody else. And it's unclear if and when those meetings at OnlyFans will actually be taking place.
Wow. Yeah, no, I can imagine why they'd be frustrated. It's one thing perhaps for Bella Thorne to pop in and make a few $1 million, but if all of a sudden that's a thing that non-sex workers do, that they have these huge followings, they come in, they deceive their fans, they make a few $1 million. I assume if you've been grinding out an income on that, that's gonna be scary, that potential future.
Sure, and risking your day job to meet that end and going as far as to post on your social media to raise awareness of your OnlyFans, and who knows, risk alienation from your family, like risk a lot of violence. I mean, the kinds of people who are on there could be really vulnerable. You never know what kind of fan that you're going to entice. You never know if one day you're going to get somebody who's dangerous. Like, they go through so much to put that content out there that she just cannot deal with because of who she is.
Yeah. Well, it's great reporting. We'll see what ends up happening if that documentary does get off the ground, if this controversy leads to her having a little bit more input involvement in the actual people that she says she's doing this to benefit. But we really appreciate your work as always, Lindsay. Thank you for joining us.
All right, have a good day.
You too. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.